everything has a formula, as Alan would say, and I know for the vast majority of my life, relationships, specifically intimate relationships, seem close to impossible. You say I was good at them. I wasn't that good at them. I didn't understand the 3 fundamentals that we're going to talk about today, for sure.
Most things are simple but not easy once you understand them. And it took me years and years and years and years and years to figure these out. But now that I've figured them out, we can really work on them and master them.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2104, 3 relationship fundamentals we all need to learn. I look back in my past, not super successful relationships. Most of them I got into because I was looking to get fixed. Most of them I thought would fix me in many different ways. I assumed I wasn't good enough to attract another partner or sustain another relationship, and I definitely had no idea the 3 fundamentals we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to kick it to you because you came with these, and normally I would just steal them and write them off as my own, but today I'm feeling extra brave.
People know you're joking when you say that?
I don't know, but I maybe I am, maybe I'm not. It's up to you. It's up for interpretation.
Kev always says you're not allowed to say just joking at the end of when you're joking. I say, brother, I'm such a serious person. I got to say that because otherwise people will think I actually mean it.
That's fair, yeah. I'm more of a jokester, for sure.
True. Even if I say it in a sarcastic tone, sometimes people aren't sure. Okay. I was on a podcast yesterday. Shout out to Mike. Mike, what's happening? He's in our fitness group. And he has a podcast called The Adaptive Man. And he interviewed me, and then he interviewed Emilia, and then he interviewed Emilia and I in the new Conscious Couples studio, which took us an entire Sunday to build. So it's looking good. And we got into conversations, and the topic was, what does it mean to be a conscious couple? It means to get off autopilot. It means to look at your patterns individually and collectively. It means to identify where you're growing apart and where you're growing together. And by the end of the interview, we only had probably 40 minutes because it took us a long time to set up. New studio, new setup. It was kind of a shit show. And I said, listen, I think I'm good to be able to say this because I didn't understand relationships well. I feel like growing up through high school and college, as I became an adult, I feel like I understood success and achievement fairly well, all things considered. And Kevin and I I've been doing this. Kevin, I think, is going to start doing this. I'm doing a Facebook memory of the day on my Instagram story lately and my Facebook story. And I'm looking back at some of the old content and some of the things that I used to say and that you used to say. It's been fun. But
slash terrible. Fun and terrible, yeah.
Some of the posts that I'm reading are cringeworthy. And some of them these are really sound principles. And this is long before ChatGPT. This is way back 8-9 years ago. And some of these things I'm reading are like, yep, that's very solid for success. But when it came to relationships, I never felt good at that at all. So when it came to the inner game, I didn't understand what the hell I was doing. I've been coaching couples on and off for 5 years now. Not even on and off. For 5 years straight, actually. Some clients were on and off. But I said this to Mike and I said this to Emilia. I said, because I didn't understand this stuff, there's a couple fundamentals that almost guarantee you can't win in a relationship. Let me explain. Kevin and I were playfully joking right before we hit record. I want you to imagine a partner who flies off the handle, can't handle their emotions at all. They fly off the handle, they yell, they scream, they flip out. Often. They take no ownership, and they never self-reflect, and they never have vulnerable conversations. They aren't able to really go deep into how they're feeling and share things that they're scared to share. How could that person possibly be in a successful relationship? Unfortunately, statistically speaking, I think I just described a pretty solid percentage of men, depending on where you live. So in this episode, it's the opposite. You only really have to master a couple things. And this is what I was saying to Mike on the show yesterday. And I actually asked Emilia live on the podcast. I said, what is it that men don't understand about women? Like, what don't we get? And her answer was, men think that women want this strong, tough, never get emotional guy, When in reality, what she says is that's what high school girls want. Women actually want a wholesome man. The problem is, when you and I were in high school, which guys got all the girls?
Badasses.
Was it exactly 100% of the, what percentage of the time?
Every time. All the time. Every time there was.
Yeah, every time. And so the Pareto principle states that 80% of the women want 20% of the men. And 80% of the men want 20% of the women. And this is why there's so much shame around success for men and status for men and body image for women. And there's a lot of data around all this. But anyways, and this obviously was an interview about couples, heterosexual couples in this case. If you master these three fundamentals, you have your chances of succeeding in an intimate relationship. I'm getting really good these days at identifying who's going to win and who's going to lose in a couple of areas: health, wealth, and love. I was a fitness coach for many years, competitor fitness model. If I can tell if you're on a good or negative trajectory in fitness, I can tell, myself included, I can tell, which is a gift and a pain in the ass. And then love, same deal. I'm starting to get to that point where it's, because Kev used to say they're not going to make it. And then 2 years later, they wouldn't. And I'd go, what were you looking for? Because I could tell that you could tell and I couldn't. So I needed to understand what you had that I didn't. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? And it's disrespect or entitlement. And I'll let you speak to that.
Right now?
Yeah.
Right this second? I would say disrespect, entitlement, and anytime a partner talks shit about their partner. What are the odds of that? Imagine if every time somebody asked me something about you behind the scenes, I talk shit about you. You think this is going to work? No way. There's no fucking chance. So that is a huge red flag. If you're with somebody and they're always talking negatively about their partner, it suggests that they either don't want to be with them, they have unresolved issues that have not been communicated,
100%.
Or they're just with them for ulterior motives. Any of those, and a bunch of other things. But
I was on with someone, I'll keep it anonymous. This was a couple weeks ago, and she wanted to work with me. I said, listen, I'm not even sure I really want to work together. And she was talking shit about her husband on the call. And I remember thinking, and she's like, yeah, he pays for everything. I'm like, wow, you kind of suck a little bit. I feel bad for him, to be completely honest.
Well, it says a lot. It says a lot about somebody else, the way they speak about their partner. I can't hype Taryn up enough. I went to something recently, and I went to a wake recently, and when I got there, they said, Taryn texted us and said the sweetest things. And I said, it doesn't surprise me. She's unbelievably thoughtful. Like, she's way more thoughtful than I am. She's way better at that than I am. Nothing but positivity, right? But I don't know. I don't really think I've ever talked trash about someone when I was in a relationship with them.
I remember one time I was talking to you about something that I hadn't talked to Emilia about yet, and I was venting. This was like years ago. And I remember right after that, I was like, I think that's the first time I've ever gone to Kevin first about something that I need to talk to Emilia about this. Right? And it wasn't talking trash by any means. It was just something I was going through. I was talking to another guy about it. And after that, I got to go talk to Emilia about this immediately. But in the past, I've had relationships, and this is so wild to think about now, where not only was I disrespected, but I think in hindsight, there are certain partners that I actually didn't inspire me. I never really realized that consciously, but in hindsight, you didn't really inspire me. Emilia inspires me, like with who she is on her own accord. Even if she wasn't my partner, I would aspire to be with someone like her. There are past relationships where I don't feel that way.
For sure. I told you
there was why the hell was I doing that?
Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there. there was again, it was like a situationship, but it started as a relationship where I said it's very dangerous because this person does not expect anything of me and I can just show up. And I don't want that. I don't want to just be able to show up. I want to get better. I want this person to have higher standards for me. So that's important because it's dangerous.
Did they inspire you?
I would say their work ethic was inspirational. So it wasn't like a lack of inspiration. It was more a lack of accountability. There was no...
No, I know. But I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Selfish question of,
yeah.
Did they inspire you?
Yeah. Their work, they had next level work ethic. They were, at the time, I think they were like in their... I think I was probably like 28. No, 20... I don't know how old I was. This is always hard because it's like I've been with Taryn for X amount of years. I don't know. But they were in their mid-20s. They had a really high income. They worked really hard. That was inspirational to me.
I never, and again, no one taught us this, so it is what it is, but I actually think one of the main indicators of whether or not a relationship will succeed is how much the partners are inspired by each other. Like, how much do they inspire you with who they are?
That's
because
that's
it's almost like, is your partner your hero? That's an interesting question.
What,
my partner's
another
my
one?
hero. My past partners, some of them were, for sure. Some of them definitely not. And it's like, wow, I really wish that was my frame of reference. It wasn't. It was other stuff. Another
good one.
Yeah.
A good measure is if you can leave your phone with your partner and vice versa.
Yeah,
I know that's extreme. Like you and I, that's normal. That's extremely common. I'm telling you right now, that is the measure.
That is such a measure.
That is the measure. Taryn was using my phone before bed.
We know each other's password on our phone.
Same.
And right? And I'll always say, she'll say, well, can I go into your phone? I said, sweetheart, you don't have to ask.
Yeah.
Ever. If I ever say no, that's bad.
Dangerous.
It's not good. Yeah, it's dangerous.
I went to bed early one night and Taryn said, hey, can I use your phone for something? I said, yeah. And she said, you want me to, what do you want me to do? I said, whatever, you do whatever. Just put it on the charger before you come to bed. I get nothing. There's nothing.
That is super rare, brother. That's super rare. I've come to realize that coaching couples, there's a lot there. There's a lot on the phone, the digital hygiene. We call it digital monogamy. Digital monogamy is not a thing. And we were on the episode, again, this is different than what we were intending on talking about. There's a lot of that lately. We talked about that on the podcast yesterday too, where you got to have these conversations up front about the digital hygiene stuff. Like, are you okay with this? That's a really important conversation to have, because if you're 4 years in and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I had no idea XYZ, Instagram, whatever, porn, you name it. And so I told Emilia, I turned to her right in the middle of the interview and I said, I'm so glad we had all those conversations early. Like, we decided together to set the guidelines up for our own relationship so that there's no betrayal. You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, even what's the word I'm looking for? Not intended, just like received betrayal that isn't...
Right.
A betrayal is a definition. About. Yeah. There's a definition of that Alan has, that I have, that Emilia has, that Taryn has, that might be different. And
100%.
Liking somebody, a half-naked person on Instagram might be betrayal to one person. It might not be to another person. Exactly. I gave Taryn my phone one time, and she was like searching for something. She was like, "There's a lot of girls in bikinis on your Instagram." And I said, "Babe, I'm telling you."
There's a lot of girls in bikinis on every guy's Instagram.
I said, "Babe, I'm telling you."
Yeah.
I literally go through and I mark those as do not show me, and I swear they show me more. I literally will open my phone on a video of somebody making pizza and just let it run over and over and over and over again because I want them to show me more pizza.
Yeah.
Now I got a lot of pizza.
If you go to my not interested, it's all
but it doesn't matter.
In bikinis.
It's almost like, oh, you are interested? Wait, you are though?
Yeah.
But I think that's a really important thing, because where are you doing misaligned things? Maybe not in person, but definitely if you are, if it's either in person or via the interwebs. And via the interwebs, the window to that is your cell phone. So if you are fucking around hiding your cell phone, you're most likely hiding other stuff too.
I know we got to jump. There was a client a few years back, maybe a year ago, and I didn't work with her for long for obvious reasons, but I could tell she was testing to see if I was happy in my relationship, you know? But anyway, so back to the three key fundamentals here. It's back to what we said at the top of this episode, which is number one, emotional regulation. And this is what I said on the episode yesterday too. If you don't master these simple things, you're going to have a really hard time having a successful long-term relationship. Number one is, can you regulate your own emotions when you're in a really, really negative state? Halt. Hungry, horny, angry, lonely, late, and tired. Hungry, horny, angry, lonely, late, and tired. If you're any 3 or 4 of those at a time, it's going to be really hard for you to emotionally regulate. And you're going to end up getting in a fight or something. So you got to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be in a bad state. You're in a bad state, you're going to ruin your relationship. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, ownership. The ability to self-reflect and go, yeah, that's on me. Fair. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Some people always point outward. Always. Terrible idea. And then some people only point inward, also dangerous, right? Yeah. So you got to find 5 at that. Drive to 5, 0 to 10. And then the last one is vulnerable communication. Sharing things you're scared to share. From the moment I met Emilia 5 years ago, coming up on 6, I think. Yeah, coming up on 6. From the moment I met her almost 6 years ago, I have those moments where it's, I don't want to share that. And then I go, oh, fuck, I have to now. In my own head, it's, if you don't share it, then you're going to take the coward's way out, and that's going to bite you later. Mm. Like, you know those moments I'm talking about? Of course. It comes up, and you're like, I could share, and then you're, all the reasons not to share it come up, and then you have to. So vulnerable communication. She gave me a vulnerable share 2 nights ago, and it was so much better. So good. Of course. All good. And she was making it this whole thing. No, we're good. All good. Yeah. But if you can't do that, you just let that ride, you're going to be disconnected.
It's coming for you eventually.
It's coming
for you eventually. It might not be this year. It might not be next year. It might not be 5 years. It's there. That's a seed that blossoms into something that you don't want. It blossoms into a shit plant.
The weeds will take the garden.
They will take the garden. That's probably a better way to say it than it's a shit plant. But but it can be a shit plant. All right, we got to hop. You and I are both 3 minutes late for a call. It's all good. Anything you want to say quickly before we go?
Dreamliner, in the show notes, $29. It will make you far more productive. It's a daily journal that is sustainable.
Strong work. All right, as always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.